Hey guys, and welcome back to another Classic gold farming video. Before we get into it, I'd like to say a huge thank you to everyone that has gotten a copy of my Classic gold guide. So what we're going to be farming for is the amber silk cloth mainly. You want to have tailoring to get increased cloth. You also want to be using the potion of treasure finding so you can get yourself the tiny treasure chests, which have a bunch of different Cata materials inside of them. We're going to be farming over in Deepholm at this location right here at Needle Rock Slag. Now what you want to do first, and the most important thing, is to make sure that you use your potion of treasure finding. This will allow you to get your tiny treasure chest, which will really increase the amount of gold you make from doing this farm. What we're going to be doing is we're going to be farming all these trogs, and there is a bunch of them. There is a whole heap of groups of these which are going to be fighting NPCs. So the majority of the time the mobs already only have like half health and they're grouped up in a good group. So if you have a class that can do some AoE, it will work really good on this farm. As you can see, just like this, there's probably going to be around 5 to 10 of the mobs at each location, and there is a whole heap of these locations. They have a really high drop chance for the amber silk cloth. Now the amber silk cloth you will get extra if you have tailoring and also have it leveled up. This will give you increased cloth from humanoids mobs, which will really increase the amount of gold you make from doing this farm. Now the amber silk cloth sells extremely quickly on the auction house, but that's not the only thing that you're going to be making gold with. You also have the tiny treasure chests, which have a bunch of different Cata materials inside of them, which you get from using the potion of treasure finding. On top of that, you also get a bunch of different BOEs from these guys. So a whole heap of greens, blues and purples for Cata. Now if you're lucky enough to get your hands on a purple, they can go for tens of thousands of gold, and they can really increase the amount of gold you make per hour from doing this farm. However, don't rely on getting a purple because they are very rare and uncommon. But the main thing you're going to be making the gold from will be the amber silk cloth. Now if you have tailoring, it will increase the amount of cloth you get per hour. However, tailoring is not required to do this farm. It will just increase the amount of gold you make from doing this farm. So if you don't want to get tailoring, that is okay. You can still go ahead and do this farm and make a lot of gold. It'll only increase the amount of gold you make by a little bit, just because it gives you a little bit of extra cloth from these mobs. Overall though, this is a really good farm to do. There is non-stop mobs around this location. They respawn very quickly, so you shouldn't have pretty much any downtime. Pretty much any class can do this, but it's best done on a class that has some good AoE. So like your druid, your mage, your DK, things that have really good AoE. Shaman even works really good here because there is only about like 5 to 10 mobs in each group. So there is a lot of classes you can do this on, but classes with AoE will work the best when doing this farm. It's super easy to do. You don't need pretty much any gear. And now what you could do if you're still leveling an alt, is you could come here and you could grind out from say level 81 all the way up to 85 just from farming these mobs, and you'll end up with a bunch of gold from doing so. So here is the tiny treasure chest, and like I mentioned before, there's a bunch of different Cata materials that you get inside of those. On the first few days of Cata Classic, I was making some really good gold from doing this farm, like some ridiculous amounts of gold, like over 10,000 gold per hour just from doing this simple farm. However, obviously as we go on, the price of the amber silk cloth is going to go down, so don't expect to be making 10k gold in a week or two from now from doing this farm. You still will make a decent amount of gold from the amber silk cloth and also the tiny treasure chest, but it won't be anything like the numbers that you're seeing right now. However guys, if you've been enjoying these Cata Classic videos, be sure to hit the thumbs up button. It lets me know that you are actually enjoying watching the Cata gold making videos, and also subscribe to the channel because I have a bunch more lined up that is coming very soon. Also, if you'd like to learn more in-depth ways on how to make gold in Cata Classic, you can check out my Cata Classic gold making guide. That'll be the first link down below in the description box. This is a guide that I've put together with all the best methods of making gold in Cata Classic, and it is constantly updated. And if you own a copy, you have a lifetime worth of free updates. You also get access to a Discord where me and the team will personally help you out with any questions that you have about making gold in any version of World of Warcraft. However guys, that was it, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.